When we think of why we're broke, we blame the economy, our job, maybe even luck. But the truth is usually much quieter, hidden in the small daily habits we barely notice, the ones slowly draining our future. Today, we're going to uncover the 12 worst financial habits you didn't even know you had, and more importantly, how to break free from them. And hi, if you're new to the channel, my name is Tay from Financial Tortoise, where we learn to grow our wealth slow and steady. The number one worst financial habit, keeping you broke. Allowing the media to drive your financial decisions. Pretty much every week, there's a new headline screaming economic doom. Interest rate changes, markets crashing, tariffs going up. Recently, new tariffs proposed on imports have dominated the news, sparking fear of higher prices and an impending recession. And when the media amplifies panic, it's easy to feel like you have to do something. Sell all your investments, pull your money out of the market, or stash cash under your mattress. But reacting emotionally to headlines is a guaranteed way to sabotage your long-term financial future. The truth is the market has survived wars, recessions, pandemics, and yes, countless tariffs. If you base your financial plan on today's news cycle, you'll be tossed around like a leaf in a hurricane. As Warren Buffett wisely said, the stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. Instead of making rash decisions based on today's fear, focus on what has always worked. Stay invested, diversify, live below your means, and play the long game. Because the news cycles change daily, but the true wealth building principles are timeless. Alright, but let's say that you don't make rash decisions based on the news. You wait. You're patient. But sometimes, can you wait a little too long? The number two worst financial habit keeping you broke. Constantly researching, but never acting. This is essentially analysis paralysis. When it comes to investing, it's easy to fall into a trap of endless preparation. You read every blog post on index funds, watch hours of videos breaking down the difference between VTSAX and FSKAX, and even compare which brokerage has the best app interface. You tell yourself you're being wise. You're just making sure you do it right. But the months turn into years, and you still haven't contributed to your 401k or opened the Roth IRA. Meanwhile, the market keeps moving, dividends keep paying, and compound interest keeps working. Just not for you. I have a friend who spent years researching the best time and the platform to open a Roth IRA. In the meantime, that $7,000 contribution that could have been compounding every year were left sitting in a checking account earning nothing. As James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, wisely said, motion makes you feel like you're getting things done, but really, you're just preparing to get something done. In investing, imperfect action today beats perfect plans tomorrow. The sooner you start, the longer time and compounding can work in your favor. So if this is you, my friend, stop researching and just start. However, before we go on, I have an exciting announcement I want to share with you. For the past year, I've been working on a very exciting project. Introducing the Financial Tortoise Community, your ultimate roadmap to mastering your money, systematizing your finances, and securing your family's financial future. I created this community because I know firsthand how overwhelming personal finance and investing can be. In today's fast-paced world, you're bombarded with so much information when it comes to money. Get-rich-quick schemes, conflicting financial advice, and confusing investment strategies that make it harder, not easier, to know what actually works for building real wealth. That is where the Financial Tortoise community is different. Inside the community, you'll get a clear structured path to building lasting wealth, built around simplifying, systematizing, and optimizing your finances for the long term. No unnecessary complexity, no hype, just proven, practical strategies that work. Plus, as a member, you'll have access to something truly special. One-on-one time with me. Direct personal support where you can ask your most important financial questions, get a personalized financial plan, and have the confidence that you're moving in the right direction. Whether you're confused about how to allocate your investments, overwhelmed by all the financial advice out there, or just want clarity on your next steps, I'll be there to guide you. But that is just the icing on the cake. On top of the one-on-one time with me, you get so much more when you join. Member exclusive courses, step-by-step video lessons on developing the right money mindset, demystifying investing, automating your finances, minimizing taxes, and much more. These courses are designed specifically for slow, steady, long-term wealth builders like yourself. Monthly live Q&A calls, live group coaching sessions where we dive deep into key financial topics, answer your questions, and help you stay on track towards your goals. Private community forum. Connect with other like-minded, hard-working professionals. Share your wins, ask questions, and build relationships with people who are on the same slow and steady journey as you. Tools, templates, and resources. Access ready-to-use financial tools, templates, and resources built to simplify your decision-making and make managing your money easier. Instant access to all updates. Get immediate access to all new training, tools, and features as soon as they're released, with no extra charge or hidden fees. Every update is included as part of your membership. The Financial Tortoise community isn't just another program. It's a place to transform your financial future with intentionality and simplicity. Many have completely transformed their financial lives, and you can too. With the right guidance, a clear plan, and consistent action, lasting financial freedom is within your reach. You deserve it. But a quick heads up, to ensure that every member receives the best experience possible, I only open enrollment a few times a year. So if you want to be the first to know when the doors open again, make sure to join the waitlist today. Just head over to financialtortoise.com/community or click the link in the description below. And as a special bonus for joining the waitlist today, you'll receive a free special gift delivered straight to your inbox, automatically just for signing up. I would love to see you inside. Alright, with that said, let's get back to the video. The number 3 worst financial habit keeping you broke. Overcomplicating your finances. In the pursuit of wealth, many people fall for the myth that building a perfect investment strategy is a secret to success. They stack funds, sectors, and asset classes into a tangled mess, chasing the dream of beating the market. But the truth is that complexity rarely improves returns. In fact, it usually hurts them. The more complicated your investments, the harder they're to manage, the more fees you pay, and the more emotional mistakes you're likely to make when the market gets volatile. I've seen people build 18 fund portfolios, believing that if they just found the right mix of dividend stocks, international REITs, small cap value funds, and a sprinkle of private equity, they could outperform the market. But what usually happens? Confusion, higher taxes, missed opportunities, and often worse returns than if they had simply bought a low-cost index fund and left it alone. And not to mention the time wasted constantly tinkering with their investment portfolio. The goal of non-professionals should not be to pick winners. Neither he nor his helpers can do that, but should rather be to own a cross-section of businesses that in aggregate are bound to do well. When it comes to investing, simple isn't just easier, it is smarter. The more you try to outsmart the market, the more likely the market will outsmart you. The number 4 worst financial habit keeping you broke. Outsourcing your financial future to so-called experts blindly. When we feel overwhelmed by money, especially investing, it's tempting to just hand the responsibility to someone else. Find an expert, trust they know what's best, and move on with life. I made this exact mistake in my 20s. Back then, I felt completely lost when it came to investing. The idea of picking funds, understanding the market, and making financial decisions felt way over my head. So when a friend recommended a financial advisor, I jumped on board without asking many questions. I assumed he had my best interest at heart, but looking back, I realized I was incredibly naive. The advisor placed me into expensive, complicated mutual funds that charged high fees and barely beat inflation. I was paying hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars a year just for the privilege of underperforming a simple index fund. Now, I don't share this to bash on financial advisors. There are some good ones out there, but you have to understand that no one will care about your money more than you do. As the old saying goes, trust but verify. It's okay to get help, but stay engaged, ask questions, and understand where your money is going. Because at the end of the day, it is your future, not theirs, that's on the line. Number 5 worst financial habit keeping you broke. Letting your lifestyle creep one paycheck at a time. This one doesn't happen overnight. It happens very slowly, almost invisibly. You get a small raise at work, and suddenly you're driving a slightly better car. A bonus comes in, and you upgrade your apartment. A promotion, and now, why not a nice vacation? You tell yourself you're just rewarding your hard work. But before you know it, every new dollar of income is already spoken for. This is lifestyle creep, the quiet killer of wealth. Instead of using raises and bonuses to build financial security and long-term wealth, we're using them to build a more expensive version of the same paycheck-to-paycheck life. I've fallen into this trap myself as well. Early in my career, whenever I got a raise, I immediately found a way to spend into it. Better restaurants, nicer cars, newer clothes. I thought that was what I was supposed to do. That was the whole point of making money, right? To spend it to show our success? But over time, I realized that all I was doing was running faster in the same hamster wheel without much to show for it. I worked more and I made more, but my bank account barely looked different. And to be honest, that was a sickening feeling. Too many people spend money they haven't earned to buy things they don't want, to impress people they don't like. But if this is so bad, why do so many of us fall into this trap of lifestyle inflation? Which leads to the next habit. Number 6 worst financial habit keeping you broke. Tying your self-worth to expensive things. We essentially tie our worth to things that we own. In today's world, Because of social media and consumerism, it's easy to believe that success is defined by a luxury car, designer clothes, and exotic vacations posted for everyone to see. Thus, we start measuring our worth by what we own instead of who we are. As silly as this sounds to some of you, I fell for this hard early in my career. Growing up in a working class immigrant family, I always felt like we were a step behind. We didn't have the nicest clothes, the biggest home, or the nicest car. Quite the opposite. It was always hand-me-down clothes, a cramped apartment, and a beat-up car I was embarrassed to be riding in. I remember telling my parents to always drop me off a block away from school because I didn't want my friends to see the old rundown car that I was in. No power windows, no AC, manual stick. Thus, by the time I became an adult, I had a deep sense of insecurity about money and a false belief that if I could just buy and own expensive things, it would prove that I had made it. Not just to others, but to myself. So as soon as I started making some real money, I wasted no time upgrading my life. Nicer clothes, a newer car, flashy accessories. It felt good, but only for a moment. Because deep down inside, it didn't really fix the insecurity. Most often, it made it worse. I was chasing a moving target. No matter what I bought, there was always something newer, flashier, and more expensive to compare myself to. Additionally, my real wealth wasn't growing at all. I was actually getting poorer from all the excessive spending. True confidence and self-worth, I eventually realized, don't come from what you own. They come from knowing who you are when everything else is stripped away. Today, I'd rather drive an old car, or even no car, and have a healthy bank account than look rich and feel stressed because I'm constantly seeking validation. We buy things we don't need with money we don't have to impress people we don't even like. The number 7 worst financial habit keeping you broke. Using your primary home as an ATM. For most people, their home is their single biggest asset. According to Federal Reserve Survey of Consumer Finances, the primary residence makes about 60 to 70% of the total wealth for middle-class American households. Which is why it's so dangerous when we treat our homes like endless piggy banks. With the rising home value over the past decades, banks have been more than happy to offer home equity lines of credit, HELOCs, easy money you can tap for kitchen remodels, vacations, or even fancy toys. It feels like free money, but it is not. It is debt. Debt that is putting your most important asset on the line. Early in my financial journey, I remember hearing friends casually talk about pulling out equity like it was no big deal. New car, home upgrades, dream vacations. It was tempting, but the truth is that every dollar you pull out against your home comes with a cost. Interest payments, risk of higher monthly obligations, and the terrifying possibility of foreclosure if you can't repay. A house should be a place of stability, not a checking account. As Morgan Housel wisely said in The Psychology of Money, building wealth is slow, destroying it is fast. The number 8 worst financial habit keeping you broke. Obsessing over micro wins and ignoring big losses. I've seen too many people who overly celebrate small financial wins while completely ignoring the decisions that could truly change their financial future. They'll probably save $1 on coffee with a coupon, switch grocery brands to save 50 cents, or spend hours hunting for a $10 discount online. While these small wins feel good in the moment, they often distract from the much bigger financial decisions that actually move the needle. Take investment fee for example. A 1% difference in fees might sound small, but over 30 years, that tiny percentage could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost returns. Or diversification. Putting all your money into one stock or sector might feel exciting during a bull run, but if that sector crashes, a lifetime of savings could disappear overnight. Even with mortgages, failing to shop around for the lowest interest rate could cost tens of thousands of dollars over the life of the loan, far outweighing the savings from skipping few restaurant meals or switching brands at the grocery store. As the old saying goes, penny wise, pound foolish. Wealth isn't about just being frugal with the little things. It's about making sure the big financial levers are working in your favor first. I'm a firm believer that once you get the major decisions right, the smaller wins will naturally follow. Number 9 worst financial habit keeping you broke. Thinking hard work alone will make you rich. Growing up, many of us were taught that if we just worked hard enough, success and wealth would naturally follow. And while hard work is essential, it builds character, skills, and discipline, by itself, it's not enough to build lasting wealth. If hard work alone were the secret, the hardest working people, educators, healthcare workers, people on construction sites would be the wealthiest. Yet we know that's often not the case. Wealth is built through a combination of hard work and smart financial decisions. Consistently saving and investing, living below your means, protecting your assets, and letting time and compounding do their work. I've known plenty of people who worked 2, even 3 jobs, but because they never invested, never budgeted, and carried high interest debt, they stayed stuck in the same financial place year after year. As Naval Ravikant once said, you're not going to get rich renting out your time. The key is to make sure that your money is working just as hard as you are. Invest early, invest often, and remember that building wealth is less about working yourself to exhaustion and more about putting your hard-earned dollars to work wisely. Alright, but is there a point where you're making so much money you will naturally find financial success, which leads to the next worst habit. The number 10 worst financial habit, keeping you broke. Equating high income with financial success. It's easy to assume that a big paycheck automatically means financial security, but earning a lot of money and building wealth are two very different things. There are plenty of high-income earners, doctors, lawyers, and executives who make 6 or even 7 figures a year but still live paycheck to paycheck. Why is this? Because as their income grows, so does their spending. Bigger homes, fancier cars, private schools, luxury vacations. Every dollar that comes in goes right back out. High income can give you the potential to build wealth, but only if you manage it wisely. Without budgeting, saving, investing, and living below your means, a large salary just becomes a larger treadmill, running faster but getting nowhere. Chris Rock once joked, wealth is not about having a lot of money. It's about having a lot of options. Financial success isn't about what you earn, it's about what you keep. So focus less on how much money you make and more on how much freedom you're building with it. The number 11 worst financial habit, keeping you broke. Trusting feelings over math. When it comes to money, emotions are powerful and dangerous. It's easy to let fear, excitement, or even gut instinct guide our financial decisions instead of relying on basic math and proven principles. We feel like the stock market is too high, so we pull our investments. We feel like we're missing out, so we throw money into the latest trend. Or we feel like this house is perfect, so we stretch way beyond our budget just to win the bidding war. I remember talking to a friend who rushed into buying a home without taking the time to compare mortgage options because it felt like the right time and the perfect house. Instead of shopping around, he jumped into a 30-year loan with a higher interest rate. If he had slowed down and looked at the numbers, he might have noticed that even small differences add up big over time. For example, on a $300,000 mortgage, a 30-year loan at 7% interest rate would cost around $418,000 in total interest over the life of the loan. Compare that to a 15-year loan at 6% interest. The total interest will be closer to $156,000. That is a difference of over $260,000. Just by letting emotions drive the decision instead of math, he unknowingly signed up to pay hundreds of thousands more. Feelings are important, but when it comes to money, math needs to lead the way. Make financial decisions based on facts, not fear or FOMO. Trust the process even when your emotions tell you otherwise. The number 12 and the final worst financial habit keeping you broke. Not asking yourself, what does success actually look like to me? One of the most dangerous habits isn't financial at all. It's never defining what success truly means for you. When you don't have a clear personal definition of success, it's easy to get swept up by chasing society's version. More money, bigger houses, flashier cars, endless status game. But without knowing your own enough, you'll keep moving the goalpost, no matter how much you earn or accumulate. I've seen so many people climb the corporate ladder, buy the luxury car, take the expensive vacation, and still feel empty. Because they were chasing a version of success that was never really theirs to begin with. Maybe for you, true success is owning your time. Maybe it's financial security for your family. Maybe it's having the freedom to take a walk in the middle of the day without worrying about emails or deadlines. So take the time to ask yourself, what does success actually look like to me? Write it down and revisit it often. Because the only way to truly win with money is to know what game you're actually playing. Thank you guys for watching. In the theme of habits, if you want to learn some easy and great wealth building habits you can start today, please check out my video here. Until next time, all the best.